Let me ask you something really fast. Think of the 5 people closest to you right now. Your best friend, your work buddy, that family member you call when things go bad, that person who always texts back fast. Now here is the scary question. If you lost your job tomorrow, if you got sick, if everything in your life fell apart overnight, how many of those 5 people would still be standing next to you? Not texting you, not posting a heart emoji under your sad caption, but actually there, showing up, picking up the phone at 2 a.m. I am going to guess, and I am sorry if this stings, maybe 1, maybe 2, and if you are really lucky, 3. Because here is the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Most people in your life don't actually care about you. Not because they are bad people, not because they hate you, but because in their world, you are just convenient, you are useful, you are there. And the moment you are not useful anymore, you become invisible. That is not friendship, that is not love, that is just people using a warm body. And today, I am going to show you the 4 biggest signs, the 4 behaviors that tell you loud and clear. This person does not care about you. Not really. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to look at some people in your life with completely different eyes. Some things are going to click, some things are going to hurt, but every single thing is going to help you. Let's get into it. Before we get to the 4 behaviors, I want you to understand why this matters so much. Most people spend their whole lives wondering why they feel alone, even when they are surrounded by people. They have got friends, family, coworkers who laugh with them every day, but deep down, there is this quiet ache, this feeling that nobody really sees them, nobody really cares. And the reason that feeling never goes away is because they never learn to read the signs. Words are cheap. Anybody can say, "I love you." Anybody can say, "I have got your back." Words cost nothing. But behavior tells the truth. The way someone acts, especially when it costs them something, that is how you know if they are real or not. So, here are the 4 behaviors, the 4 ways people show you, without a single word, that you are not a priority in their life. Number 1. They act like nothing happened after hurting you. This one is something I need you to sit with. Because this behavior is so disorienting, it messes with your head so badly, that a lot of people end up apologizing to the very person who hurt them, just to make the awkwardness stop. Here is the scene. Something happened. They said something cruel. They let you down in a big way. They embarrassed you. They betrayed your trust. Something real happened, and it hurt you, deeply. And you are expecting something, an acknowledgement, an apology, even just a simple, "Hey, are you okay?" You are not asking for a grand gesture. You are just waiting for them to show that they know something happened between you two. But instead, they walk back in, acting completely normal, cracking jokes, talking about what they want for lunch, asking you to help them with something, just breezing right past the thing that broke something in you. And now you are sitting there confused. Did that actually happen? Am I being dramatic? Should I just let it go? And then, because the silence is so uncomfortable, because the gap between what you feel and how they are acting is so disorienting, you start to fold. You start answering their questions. You start laughing at their jokes. You let the moment pass. And just like that, it is buried. That is exactly what they were counting on. Because here is what acting like nothing happened really means. It means they are not willing to be uncomfortable for you. An apology costs something. It costs pride, it costs ego, it costs the admission that they were wrong. And they have decided that cost is too high. So instead of paying it, they just skip it. They move on. They let time do the work. And they know, they are betting on the fact that if they act normal long enough, you will eventually act normal too. And the worst part? It works. Most of the time, it works. But every time it works, something in the relationship quietly breaks. The trust gets a little thinner. The safety gets a little smaller. And you learn, slowly but surely, that this person is not a safe place for you to be hurt. Because when you are hurting, they won't show up for it. A person who truly cares about you cannot pretend nothing happened when they have hurt you. It would bother them too much. They would feel the weight of it. They would want to fix it, not because you forced them to, but because they genuinely cannot stand the idea of you being in pain because of something they did. That is what real care looks like. It is uncomfortable. It swallows its pride. It says, "I was wrong and I am sorry," even when those are the hardest words in the world. If someone keeps breezing past the moments they have hurt you, if they have mastered the art of acting like nothing happened, believe them. That is who they are. And that is not someone who is safe to keep giving your heart to. Number 2, they avoid real conversations. Picture this. You finally gather the courage to bring something up, something that has been sitting on your chest for weeks. You have rehearsed how you are going to say it. You have picked the right moment. You take a breath and you start talking, and they immediately change the subject. Or they look at their phone, Or they give you a one-word answer and stare off somewhere. Or they say, "Can we not do this right now?" And right now never actually comes. That is not an accident. That is a pattern. And that pattern has a name: avoidance. Some people are allergic to depth. The moment a conversation starts to require something real from them, honesty, vulnerability, accountability, they find a way out. They deflect with humor. They get suddenly busy. They turn it back on you. They shut down so completely that continuing to talk feels like talking to a wall. And you, being someone who actually cares, start adjusting. You stop bringing up certain things. You learn which topics are off limits. You start keeping more and more of your real self hidden because you have learned that bringing it out only leads to frustration. Do you know what that is? That is loneliness inside a relationship. And it is one of the most painful kinds of lonely there is, because you are right next to this person and yet completely unreachable to them. Real conversations are how people connect, not the "how was your day, fine, how was yours" kind, the real kind, where you say something true about yourself and the other person leans in instead of leaning away. Where you can say, "I have been struggling," and they don't immediately try to fix it or flee from it. Where you can say, "I need to talk about what happened," and they don't act like you just asked them to climb a mountain. A person who cares about you will sit in the hard conversation with you. They won't love it. They might be uncomfortable, but they will stay, because you matter more to them than their own comfort. The person who keeps dodging every real moment is quietly telling you something. They are telling you they are not willing to go deep with you. And a relationship with no depth is not really a relationship. It is just two people taking up space near each other. You deserve someone who can handle your whole self. Not just the easy, surface-level version, all of you. Number 3, they don't support you. Let me be specific about what I mean here, because this one is easy to misread. I am not talking about the time someone was busy and missed an event. I am not talking about a single moment of bad timing. I am talking about a pattern. A consistent, undeniable pattern where this person is simply never in your corner. You share something you are excited about, a new goal, a business idea, something you have been working toward, and they say nothing, or they say something vague, or they hit you with the "that's cool" that is clearly just noise to end the conversation. You go through something hard, and they don't check on you, not once. You achieve something you worked hard for, and they don't acknowledge it. Maybe they hear about it from someone else and still say nothing. Or worse, they talk about other people's achievements enthusiastically. They get genuinely excited about what someone else is doing. But when it comes to you, there is this flat silence. This absence of energy. That is not a coincidence. That is a choice. Because support isn't complicated. It doesn't require money or a big-time commitment. It requires one thing: caring enough to pay attention. When you care about someone, you notice what they are going through. You notice what they are working toward. And you show up for it. Not perfectly, not always loudly, but consistently. Something that says, "I see you. I am paying attention. You matter to me." The person who never gives you that isn't forgetting. People don't forget the things that matter to them. They remember their favorite show's release date. They remember their favorite team's record. They remember things that are important to them with perfect clarity. If they don't remember what you are going through, if they have never once asked how something important to you turned out, it is because what you are going through simply isn't that important to them. I know that is a tough thing to hear, but you need to hear it. Because one of the cruelest things about being around unsupportive people is that over time you start doing their job for them. You start downplaying your own goals. You stop sharing things before they happen so you don't have to deal with the silence after. You celebrate your wins alone because you have learned not to expect anyone to celebrate with you. And then one day you look up and realize you have been living this whole life, with all its mess and beauty and wins and losses, almost entirely alone, even though someone was supposedly right there beside you. You deserve someone who is genuinely invested in your life, someone who asks follow-up questions, someone who remembers, someone who shows up for your moments the way you show up for theirs. That is not too much to ask. That is just what care looks like. Number 4, they feel distant even when they are right next to you. This last one is the hardest to explain, but I think it might be the one that hits closest to home for most people watching this, because it doesn't look like anything from the outside. They are there. Physically, they are sitting right next to you. You are in the same room, the same car, at the same table, and everything looks fine. From the outside, someone would think, those two are good. But you know the truth. There is a wall. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but you feel it every single time. You are talking but not really connecting. You are together but not really close. Something is missing, and it has been missing for so long that you have almost convinced yourself that maybe this is just what relationships feel like. It is not. That distance you feel, that invisible gap between you and this person, even when they are close enough to touch, is real. And it is one of the most telling signs that someone has emotionally checked out of your relationship. They are present in body, but absent in every way that matters. Their mind is elsewhere, their heart is elsewhere. They are going through the motions, answering when spoken to, existing in the same space, but there is no warmth behind it, no real attention, no genuine interest in being there with you. And here is the thing about emotional distance. It is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It just slowly becomes the new normal, until one day you realize you can't remember the last time this person made you feel truly seen, or close, or safe. You find yourself working harder to create connection, telling longer stories, asking more questions, doing more, being more, trying more, all to bridge a gap that they are not even trying to close from their side. That is exhausting, and it is not your fault. Real closeness isn't just about being in the same room. It is about being present, about the other person actually choosing to be there with you, mentally, emotionally, fully. It is in the way they look at you when you are talking, the way they respond, the way they make you feel like the conversation you are having is the most important thing happening in their world right now. That feeling of being someone's full attention is what it feels like to be with someone who actually cares. And its absence, that invisible wall, that constant undercurrent of distance, that loneliness next to someone feeling, that is one of the clearest signs that someone has already left. They just haven't walked out the door yet. And maybe it is time for you to be the one who decides what to do with that. Now, here's what I need you to do with this. Don't use this to start a war. Don't go firing off messages or making dramatic announcements. Just get honest. Get quiet and honest with yourself about the people in your life and what these behaviors are telling you. Because you already know. You have always known. You have felt it in your stomach every time the conversation went flat. Every time you waited for an apology that never came. Every time you sat next to someone and felt completely alone. Your gut has been telling you the truth for a long time. This video is just giving you permission to believe it. You are not too sensitive. You are not asking for too much. Wanting to feel supported, heard, seen, and close to the people in your life is not a high standard. It is the bare minimum. And the moment you start treating it like the minimum, the moment you stop accepting less, everything begins to shift. The right people are out there. People who say sorry and mean it. Who lean into the hard conversations. Who show up for your life like it matters to them. Who make you feel full, not empty, just by being near them. Make room for them. Before you go, one thing. Think about one person this video made you think of, just one, and ask yourself honestly, how long have you been making excuses for the way they treat you? You don't have to do anything drastic right now, but stop pretending you don't see it. That is step one, and sometimes that is the hardest one. If this helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Take care of yourself.